All right, welcome. It is March 16th, I believe, March 16th. So this is going to be set up more like a crash course, like my crash course for beginners. So I'm going to try to stick to, well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is pretty much going to be a crash course. I'm going to start from the beginning, 2.1, Nomad Sculpt 2.1. Every time I stream, it's a different version. Okay, so first things first, if your Nomad doesn't look like this, that's fine. You can change the color of the background here. Oops. This is an autosave pop-up. Let's name this Crash Course what is it, 316? 316. Whatever. So you can change the color here to whatever you want. I have this purple, so you can move this around and change the color. You might see a grid. If you see a grid here, that's just the regular grid. So I'm going to be sculpting in orthographic, so that means without any perspective distortion. So that means if you go to this little camera here, I'm in orthographic and not perspective. It looks the same, but later on it might get a little confusing. So I always use orthographic to sculpt with. And some people have so many issues with that. But I'm fine with it. If people want to sculpt in perspective, they can sculpt in perspective. Also, I usually like to sculpt not with completely white. So I like to kind of change it. So we're not dealing with like a white color here. So I'll go to this little circle. Oops, that's not the right one. Yeah, I'll go to this little sun icon and then just change it to a matte cap. So that's like a fake, it's kind of like a fake, oh, even though for some reason it's not changing. Use matte cap. Okay, I want to use one of these matte caps. That's interesting. I don't know, maybe oh, I know what happened. So the reason why I wasn't going is because I was in quad remesher. I was doing something with quad remesher, so if you're on it, sometimes it'll change the color of the mesh. There's always like little things to make everything more confusing, but don't worry about it. So anyway, go to the little sun, matte cap. It's kind of like a fake color, fake lighting, but it's just easier to sculpt with than white. And you can tap here and change any of these that you want. But to sculpt, we'll just go with good old PXG clay. All right, so I think that's pretty much it to get started. So you can see this sphere is 98.3K. That's really high. That's a really high resolution. Really high resolution is good for higher details because if you turn on the wireframe, it's all made out of, what is this? I accidentally hit undo. When you turn on the wireframe, this is very dense. So that means you can make details are a lot clearer than when it's not dense. So this is 98.3. Let's go here to the scene menu and we'll add a sphere. And let's hit front here. This is a snap cube. This is so I know I'm looking at the front of the model. So let's just move this down for now. And let's shrink it with this orange ring. So now you can see both of these at the same time. You can see this one is way more dense. This one is way more not dense. It's only 6,146. So we don't need this to be really high resolution right now. We're just wasting system resources. So I'm going to go into the scene, and this sphere that's 98.3, I'm just going to delete. And this one is the sphere that we're going to work with. Okay, so I'm going to move it back up because I moved it down. Doesn't seem like it makes a difference, but if I look at the grid, I kind of want it in the middle. It's fine. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. What's up, Irvin? Miguel? Baja California, Mexico. Baja California, Mexico. That's awesome. Lullabies? Wow, you did Nomad for your final. That's awesome. I'd love to see what you did. That's pretty cool. Man, I wish I had Nomad back in the day when I was in school. But But I was stuck with the very, very difficult 3D, and it made me hate it. So I changed to being an illustrator back in the day. Okay, so really quickly, these are our tools right here. And you'll notice that a lot of tools are grayed out. Your tools might look like this. So this is just expanding this window. This is a gizmo. That's what you use. That's like your 3D controller. So that'll help you move around your 3D, whatever it is. So you have the arrows. You have the orange ring, which is the scale. And then you have these little spheres. Those just stretch. So you can stretch it. And then you have these rings, blue, green, red, and that just rotates it. So your gizmo is like your controller if you're playing a video game. Let's turn the wireframe off. We don't need it. And let's go to our file and save. You want to save often. It's better to save often. So let's bring in our reference image. So I'm just going to go here to this little picture. I'm going to go reference image. I'm going to tap on this little rascal. Import photos. And I want to import this little guy. So we'll import him. Now we want to move him. We don't really want him there. So we want to hit transform. And then we can move it around to exactly where we want it. I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm going to tap with one finger to go back to sculpting mode, if that's set. Now I guess I should put this in there just in case someone is following. No, I guess no one will probably follow on this tutorial. Or I guess you can just follow what I'm doing on the screen. What's up, Oaze? Bella. Ohio. I love it. People from all over. Baja California, Mexico. You know, I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know the area. So is that like on the California border, or is it like deeper in Mexico? Like, you know, the only reason I mostly know it, but I feel like they always just call it Baja, but I don't know. And for some reason, what pops in my head is like those old school like dune buggies, like just like flying over like the like sand dunes. That's like what I picture in my head for some reason when I think of the name Baja. I don't know. Maybe that makes sense. Hey Dave, can you make an ornamental design with Nomad? Yeah, you can pretty much make anything. I would use oh, that's such a weird view if I'm looking up at the screen. I would use like radial and all that stuff. I might do something like that. Tajikistan. That's awesome. What's up, RR? All right. All right, back to the crash course. I'm going to edit this after the fact, and then I'll upload it as a real crash course like video with all the talking cut out. All right, so let's move this up a little bit. So when I'm looking at this is very different than like drawing, obviously, because it's 3D. So when I look at this, I just think of which shapes make up the character. And this is true for any character, regardless of how complex it is. It's always going to be made up of shapes. And if it's not, then in your mind, you have to think about the shapes that it matches closest to. And then you use those shapes to create whatever you want to create. When you think of it that way, when you think of everything broken down into simple shapes, everything becomes much less complicated. But the more complex things, you can just feel that they just take a lot longer because it's a lot more elements. Okay, so let's start with, now we have the round part, but I don't really actually see anything that's super round on him. I guess his head is kind of round, but then again, like it's kind of not. So I think for the head, we might use a cylinder. And for the body, we might use a cylinder as well. Maybe for the arms, we can use a sphere, and for the legs, we can use a sphere as well. I think that's a good plan. So I just think of a plan in my head, and then I just start creating the shapes. So let's start with the head. To me, that looks like a cylinder, but with like a flatter top. So I'm just trying to think of the best way to actually make that, to make this shape. And I think it might be, maybe we can actually use this sphere. So let's take this and like stretch it down a little bit. And maybe that can be like the top. So let's go to our scene. Let's add a cylinder. Okay, so we can use this orange ring to shrink it to like maybe it's around that size or so. That's probably not going to work. I'm just going to hide the sphere. I'm going to hit the little eye. We'll think of something. Okay, so we have our cylinder and we probably should widen the bottom of it. So instead of the gizmo, let's hit this little orange thing right here, right next to the gizmo, and it'll give us these 3 little nodes. So that just gives us more control over this shape. And of course, to undo and redo, undo is 2-finger tap, redo is 3-finger tap, or you can use these down here to redo and undo. So I'm going to hit front. So I think for this, I'd probably just make this a little wider here. Not too much. And obviously the head is short, so I'm just going to make this shorter like this. So that feels better. Maybe a little longer. We need room to put the eyes in and the little mouth. So I'll make it a little longer actually, because we can always crop it. We can always like trim it if we need. So now we need to round this out. So one cool thing about Nomad is we haven't truly added this to our project yet. It's what you call a where is it? It's what you call a primitive. So a primitive is a very simple shape, but we haven't validated it yet. Once we validate, then it's an actual part of the project. Then we can use all these tools. But the cool thing about things that you can do before you validate is, for example, we can make this much more softer, and we'll do that by changing the structure of the surface. Sounds really confusing, but I'll just show you how to do it. And maybe it'll be clearer. Let's turn on the wireframe. Well, I'll turn on the wireframe. You don't really have to. So here's the wireframe of this. So we're going to tap these 3 dots, and we're going to put the post subdivision up to 2. So you can see we've made those squares smaller. We've made it much more dense. We've made it much more higher resolution. But we're going to kind of bring it down with the topology. Division X, we're going to bring down. We'll just scroll that down and see how that's kind of like softening up. That's what we want. So maybe something like that, even. So it's much softer, and it's only 1000, so it's not very high resolution. I'm going to go back in and put the post subdivision up to 3. See how it looks a little blocky? I'm going to put it up to 3 just so it's more resolution. It'll be smoother. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and validate this shape. So now it's validated. You see that we can use all our tools now if we want to. I'm going to turn off the wireframe. So that's a little bit closer to this shape. It's not perfect. I could probably make it a little wider, honestly. So I'll just hit undo and make it a little wider maybe. Maybe something like that. It's not too bad. So I'll validate that. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. We probably could have cloned that, but we'll make a new cylinder, I think, for the body. So let's tap on scene again, and we'll add another cylinder. Let's go to our gizmo. So our gizmo is here, or it's here. Let's bring it down, and let's use the orange ring to shrink it. So it's a little bit shorter than the body. Probably going to get dinged for this video for a while, unfortunately. So it's pretty much like that. Obviously, we want to soften it up. So let's do the same exact thing that we did before. We'll tap these 3 dots. Post subdivision, we'll put we'll just put it to 3. See how high it is? It's 168K. but that's okay because we're going to lower the division X. Actually, maybe we don't want it. Maybe we don't want it as round as the top. I think that's good. I'm putting the division X to 2 and the division, or I'm putting the division X to 42 and the post subdivision to 2. I'm going to go ahead and validate that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I probably could have widened him out a little bit at the bottom. But yeah, I make the same mistakes all the time, as you'll see. It's normal. I always have to like do stuff and then I'm like, I did something wrong and I have to go back and do it again. It's normal. I think that looks better. So we'll validate that. And I kind of want the top a little bit more round, you know? I haven't been up top. Let's see what I missed. Miguel. Yes, Baja is short for Baja California. I live in Tijuana, state of Baja California. It's just across the border with San Diego. Oh, interesting. What's up, B-Man? Ashco. Nice to see you. Ashley, I hope you got the package. Creature X. Happy weekend to you as well. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I hope you. It took me a while to send it. It was a wild couple months at that point in time in my life. But so I was a little slow on sending it. But I hope you got the cool little package. Okay, so I'm thinking we might also be able to smooth the top. We might be able to smooth the top, or we could go into scene and. Like where we have this sphere. Oh no. I'm still always hitting, let's go to the gizmo for the sphere. I'm still always hitting the undo. So this is what I was thinking before. Like we can kind of like add this and kind of make a makeshift like top. The only thing I want to do is it's popping up a little bit. So it just needs to be like a flatter top. Something like that, you know? I feel like that's a little closer to what we want. So we'll just leave it there for now. So this will be head, top. Okay, we'll go to this cylinder. So we'll just tap these 3 dots. Sometimes I realize I do something real fast, and then I have to make up for it by doing it again really slow. So we'll tap on the cylinder, and we'll tap name, and this will be head. So we have head top. We can tap on that and validate it. Head and then cylinder, and this can be the body. So we'll tap there and just name it body. I can't stay up too late tonight. I've been trying to get more sleep in my life. Oh, nice. Awesome. You got it. Cool. Yeah, yeah, you know, I was trying to hold on to what's it called? I keep wanting to say Procreate, to Patreon for a long time, but you know what it is? It's just like, I was just too overwhelmed with like some projects going on with Skillshare and then like trying to keep up with Udemy and like all this stuff. Like I started spreading myself too thin. That's another reason why I'm doing a lot of lives, because when I'm doing lives, it's like I can work on something and like it's okay if I don't get around to editing this for a while, because I still have like content coming out and it's like fun. Otherwise, like I'm antisocial unless I'm online. That's the only time this is like the most I talk to people in my life ever. Okay, so all right, so this is looking pretty good so far. So we want to make his little leggies, his little feet. So how do I want to do the feet? We could do tubes, but we could also let's do this little cool thing. Let's do this little trick. Let's do the little pill trick. So we'll go to our scene. We'll add a sphere. And let's just hit solo. Hitting solo just gets rid of everything else, so all we see is our sphere. So let's go ahead and validate it. And then we will tap group and then go to vertex and then make sure symmetry is on. So let's go to this little symmetry tab here. Then let's go down to show line. Show the line that we're showing. The line that we're showing is the symmetry line. So essentially, right now, the symmetry line is this red line that's down the center, which we could change if we wanted to. So let's go to the symmetry and let's change it from, let's tap the X and tap the Y. Okay, so now it's here. So what we did with this little vertex thing is essentially we're kind of allowing ourselves to make like a pill shape, so we're going to pull this apart. So let's use this green arrow and let's just pull it up. You know what, that's still really not flat enough for his little feet, now that I'm looking at it. So, okay, so I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to go back to symmetry. Let's tap Y and let's just go back to X. And let's stretch this way. Oh, not with the sphere, you want to do it with the arrow. So we'll stretch the arrow out, kind of like this. And this can wind up being his mouth. I'm going to stretch it a little more, maybe till like there. Let's hit solo. And this thing, I think we can shrink it. I think it'll keep its shape. And I'm going to move it up. So this is going to be the mouth, which is really, really small. I keep trying to scroll and it just keeps hitting undo. That's like my Nomad pet peeve right now. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good size. That's a pretty good, we'll just leave that there for now. We might use it, we might not. So let's go ahead and go to our scene and then just hide this. But for the legs, I think we might want to use cylinders again. I really think either cylinders or like maybe cylinders and then like spheres underneath. Let's try that. I need to stop thinking about it. I need to stop trying to go too into the details here and keep it simple. It's like it's so difficult for me because like everything I do is like I want to make it, I don't know, I just have this thing where everything has to be exactly perfect, and it really doesn't. Okay, so this will kind of start out to be the leg. I want to try something. Let's hit validate. So right now the cylinder is 2,642. Let's tap this little scientific beaker thing up here, the operation. And let's do smooth. See smooth? Let's just slide this. I just want to see what it looks like. I mean, that's actually not too bad. Oh, it gets a little weird at the bottom, but it's actually not too bad. I'm going to undo it, I think. So I'm going to undo it until we bring this back. I just wanted to see if that was like an easier way to like maybe smooth this out, but it does look a little funny. So I'd rather go back to before we validated, hit these three dots, post subdivision to 2, and then division X down. Whoops, move this over. And we'll put post subdivision up 1 and see if we can go down 1 more. Now we'll leave it here. So that was post subdivision to 3 and division X to 12. With the little X, and we will, let's leave it for now. So let's go to scene and add a sphere. And this sphere is going to be the bottom. I'm going to validate it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to move it down. This is going to be the bottom of the leg. And let's use this green to like make it like round. That's another feature that like I'm so surprised that we don't have yet, is just where you can take a tube or take like one of these shapes and just make the bottom round. Like, it just seems like it would be so simple. You know, like even if it's automatically putting another shape underneath, I feel like that would be so useful. Lathe. Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah, I guess a lathe could work for the legs too. That's true. A lathe could work for the legs. Let's take the cylinder and let's validate it. Let's take the sphere and the cylinder and let's make them one piece. So let's go to right next to the scene. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll take them both. We'll go right next to the scene. We'll go to voxel. And we'll bring that up to, we'll just do 140. And then we'll hit remesh. Multi-resolution will be lost. Okay. So now these are one piece here, and we'll just call it leg. Okay. Now you can see it's a little ugly, but that's fine if you go in. Oh, and also I should have said this before. Some of you are going to have your shapes be kind of pixelated, and you're going to be wondering why my shapes are smooth. It's bound to come up, comes up all the time. And that's just smooth shading. So you can go to this little sphere here and just make sure your smooth shading is either on or it's on auto, which is on. Because if you turn it off, then things are going to look very different. They're not going to be smooth. So just make sure you turn that on or on auto, which in my case, auto is on. Smooth shading. Speaking of smooth, let's use the smooth tool. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's go to our little leg here and let's just smooth it out. Keeping symmetry on so we don't have to do both sides. But now you can see it's nice and smooth. And actually, this might be a good time to test out that operation again. If we go here, we can probably smooth this a little more, right? Just make it a little more, I don't fully understand the smooth tool. I mean, it's cool, but... Okay, so there we go. It's a little round. So let's take the gizmo and let's shrink it with this orange ring, and then let's put it in this leg-ish position. So we'll just put it here. I have to look up the differences with 2.1 because I really have no idea. I haven't been checking them. And I should check them often. I feel like I'm established enough in the Nomad Sculpt community enough that I should check them. They're a little round. They're a little more round, right? They're a little more round. Let's see if I can smooth them out some more. I think I really like the smooth tool actually, or whatever this is, because it just makes it round like much easier. So let's put it here. It's like kind of to the side. And yeah, I think that's all right. I kind of want to make this a little more plump. I'm going to take the move tool and maybe I can just like kind of plump this out a little bit. Just a smidge. I don't think anybody will notice or care. Okay, I got to hurry this up. I'm so slow, right? I'm extremely slow when I'm creating. But it has to be perfect. I just have an issue. It just has to be perfect. So since this is 3D, I don't really want this leg to be that small. So I think I'm going to stretch the leg out a little bit like that. It looks kind of the same from the front, but just feels better being stretched. So now we want to mirror this to the other side. So let's go up to our scene. Here we have the leg, and it's actually quite, let's just leave it. So we have the leg, let's do add, and then let's do mirror. Okay, so now it's still the one leg, but we've put it in a mirror, so now it's looking like it's on both sides. Let's go to the mirror, hit the 3 dots, and rename it legs. just so we don't forget what it is. What was this? What was this thing? Oh, that was the mouth. Or leagues, apparently. Okay, so now the little, you know what? Yeah, while we're here, let's take this cylinder and let's see. Do we want to just smooth it? Let's take the body, let's take the legs and let's validate. So we're going to validate them. So now, even though it's two legs, now it's just one piece. So we validated it. We'll take the body and the legs and let's go next to scene, voxel. Let's voxel remesh it at like 145 or so. Those numbers are very arbitrary. Okay, so now they're one piece. So let's go to smooth, make sure symmetry is on, and now we can smooth them as one piece. And we can make it a little more round. Everything looks a little bit more together. And if you want to smooth it even more, you can voxel remesh it again at a lower resolution, and that will actually smooth it out a bit more. I don't know if I want to do that. I kind of do. I probably should have made him a little thinner, like squished him this way. But that's all right. He'll be okay. But yeah, you can always, this is a shortcut to the voxel remesh. It's the same thing. It's just a shortcut. See how the numbers are moving in both places? But like if you bring it down, the resolution is going to be lower. So let's say we remesh that. So then the smooth is actually going to smooth out more because it's like lower resolution. If you try to remesh it at like 500 and try to smooth, it's not going to smooth as much because it's just a higher resolution. So that's good to know when you're trying to like smooth and something won't smooth. Okay. Let's take the head. Let's take the head and the head top, and let's voxel remesh those together. So same thing. I'm going to use the little shortcut down here, but it's the same thing as up there. So I'm going to remesh it like, we'll stick to 145 since that seems to be our lucky number today. So we'll remesh. So now they're one piece. Now we can take and smooth and make sure symmetry's on so everything is equal and balanced. Okay, so now this is one part. We can take a look. Look good. So one thing I noticed is my guy is a little too thin. So I'm going to take the head and the body, take the gizmo, and I'm just going to stretch him out until I feel that he's where he should be. So maybe right around there. Looks good to me. Okay, so let's make these arms. How do I want to make the arms? They're kind of like, I feel like it's something with a sphere. And we'll just use the gizmo to move the arrows. And we'll shrink. Okay, so it's something like this. It looks like the bottom is like this. We'll rotate a little bit. They're a little bit above the legs, so maybe something like that. So maybe a little bit stretched. And then maybe we can take, let's hit mirror. So that's going to put one on the other side as well. Let's validate. Let's use move. Okay, so right now, if we do show line, well, we can't really see the line because the line is the middle of the project. This is going a little into the weeds, but it's because we're using the symmetry, the method is world. So the world is the project. It's not the individual shape. So the world is just the middle of the screen, the middle of the screen. That's the world. But since we're working on these little arms, we can go to symmetry and we can use local. So if you hit local, you noticed Local is, now it's part of each individual shape. The only difference is it's according to each shape. So even though you can see the red line here, it's because it's in the middle of the screen. You know, it's still world. It's just because it's in the middle of the screen. So for example, if I go like this, you don't see the red line anymore, because the red line is down the middle of the screen. So there it is, see? So if I wanted to be on this, I would just go to the symmetry and I would hit local, and now it's local. So if you're moving things around and you want to do stuff with them in particular, like as far as symmetry is concerned, then make sure to go to local. This is all the stuff I edit out when I'm actually doing the videos, because I'm like, this is going to be so confusing to so many people. We can leave it on world for the other shapes. We're just concentrating on the arm. We have show line on so we can see the line. And we have local. And this is just for the arms. So what I was going on about is I wanted to change it from, right now it's down here. We don't really care about this side. If we're looking on the side, we want to match the front and the back. So I don't even know what that is, what I just clicked on. Okay, so we'll go back to symmetry. We'll change it from X to, and we know Y is up and down, so that's not what we want. But Z is right. I can't really see it. So this is Z. That's what we want. We want to use move. We want the two sides. And the reason why that happened is because I forgot to turn off the Y. So it's not only matching the front and the back, but it's also matching the top and the bottom. So undo, back to symmetry, turn off Y so we can only see this line. And all of that just to stretch the arm the way I wanted to. So now we can kind of stretch it, and it just keeps it like a nice clean shape. That's pretty much like what I wanted to do. I'm going to make the move tool really big, because if you notice mine, it doesn't have the same bend. So I want to make it, oh, that's too big. I want to bend this part this way, but I also want to make it like round here. So I'm going to pull that part out so it's nice and round. So it's kind of just like a lot of push and pull, but I just want to keep it like nice and round and light and cute. So I think that kind of works. The only issue is, let's take the gizmo, and I want to move it directly to the right. And if you'll notice, the gizmo is not 100% to the right. So if we want to move it just left and right, you know how we can set the symmetry to the project, where the project, this is up and this is left and right. A similar thing with the gizmo is called a line. So if you hit a line, then this is always going to be up. This is always going to be right. So it doesn't matter how you change this, this is always going to be up. Versus if you have that off, then it's like, it's pretty much going to be coordinated to the actual shape. So right here, this is going to change. That's always going to be up. Now up is that way. Now up is down. So pretty nifty. You can just use a line and just move it straight in. Yeah, I definitely would have deleted a lot of my extra stuff that I'm saying. What's up, Eric? What's the difference between flatten and planar? I don't. Is planar relative to the camera? I don't know. I don't even use the triplanar, planar. However you say that, I don't even use it. I actually don't use it. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if I've ever seen this. I've seen the triplanar. Isn't there like a triplanar somewhere? Planar? I have no idea. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Okay, so let's say we have a sphere here. We want to validate it. We want to hit vertex and symmetry. We want to change it to the Y. And let's say we make our little pill tool, which didn't work. Let's take X off. Let's do local. So let's stretch this. Let's just put this back to the default. Let's take a line off. Okay, so let's say that this is all we have. And I'm even going to voxel remesh it. This is just like, I'm just doing like a quick test. Voxel remesh it. Maybe I'll even smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so we have our shape here. What happened to this? What is going on? I don't know what happened. Let's go to my, you can just ignore this. Pivot, center, pivot. That's so weird that the symmetry line like disappeared. That was weird. Anyway, so planar, what even is this? What does this do? Okay, so it did something to the top and the bottom. Let's just do regular like this. So I guess it kind of like, is it still messing with the top or no? I don't know what this is. I don't know how to control it. I'm trying to think of like if I wanted to do like flat on the bottom, if I could do it, but it's like, I guess that would work. It's kind of cool. I mean, the main difference that I can see is it takes away a lot of mass, whereas like flatten is more, feels more like you're doing it like with a tool, like with clay. You know, like it feels like it's flattening more with clay, whereas the planar thing looks like it's kind of like calculated and clean. You know, it almost feels like the difference between drag, which is like usually for like smaller things, and then like move, which is like bigger portions. It kind of feels like that to me. But I don't know. I'm going to delete it and hit solo. Yeah, there's always little sidebars. But yeah, I've never heard of it. That's my first time playing with it, but that's my guess. I'm sure someone will come out with a tutorial about that soon. There's so many changes that I just have no idea. I want to make this arm smaller, I think. Smaller. I'll move it up a little bit. I think that's nice. Yeah, I think that works. So the only thing that I might want to do with the arm, so there's the thing called, do I want to do a Boolean here? There's a thing called a Boolean operation where you can like, I don't even know if that's like an antiquated term, but you can take a shape and you can use that shape to, sorry, my nose itches. You can use that shape to cut into other shapes, you know? So like if you had so like if I wanted to use the shape of the body to like cut away at the arms, we can do it. I'm not sure if I should, this looks just straight flat though. So I don't know if I want to do that. But I guess this isn't really straight flat. Let's try something first. Let's try trim with line. Let's try trim with line. Okay, so the arms, they're still in a mirror. I don't know if that makes a difference, but we'll see. So let's take trim with line here. Okay, you can go away. With line. So I'm going to tap at the top of the body around here. So when you're using line, whatever's in the white is going to get cut. So I want to do like, this isn't really the greatest example. I'm going to have to do that again. So let's say I want to trim straight down here. I want to start around here and trim kind of straight down his body. I want to make that line. It's a little bit easier if you slide out to the end of it. Something like that. Let's see what happens. So now, just so you can see what I did, if I solo this, you can see that the arm is cut there. I I think I like it. I think I dig it. What do you think? I'm gonna use. I feel like they kind of puff out too much, so I'm gonna flatten them a little bit more. I think that looks fine. I like it. So now I want to take the arms and validate them. Join children, yes. That just means it's going to make them one piece instead of two separate pieces. And now I want to take smooth. I'm going to hit solo just so you guys can see, and I want to smooth the arm. Oh, that looks so ugly. So when that happens, I just usually undo and I voxel remesh maybe around 150. Ooh, that looks ugly too. Wait a minute. Okay, the mirror is, okay, it's 11K. It's interesting that when I remeshed, it was like the same number. Is that true? I guess so. Let's put it at a higher resolution. So let's voxel remesh at a higher resolution at like 185. Let's see if it makes a difference. Oh well. Let's see if we can smooth this. It's very soft. Let's hit solo. Yeah, it's very soft, but it's not too bad. I'm gonna use Gizmo. Let's just undo. I think this is fine, honestly. The only thing I don't like is this area, this part here. I don't like that you can see that trim. So, oh, my poor back. So that's kind of an issue for me, so I'm just going to continue to undo. And let's try the other way that I was mentioning that I didn't do. How much RAM did you have on your iPad Pro? I have no idea. I have an M2. I don't know how much RAM it is. But it works. Things work good in all the iPad Pros. But I'm not even sure. How much do you charge for a 5-inch 3D model figure? I don't do commissions. I decided to stop doing commissions like 2 or 3 years ago. I mainly stick to teaching and doing classes and stuff like that. Doing commissions, it's like I do commercial collabs because usually that's sometimes they'll pay differently, but usually it's like the exposure that you get when you're doing collabs. But doing like private commissions, it's like that usually the time that I'm putting into doing those is not really like not that it's not really worth it. It's just like a different thing. It's just like and I always feel bad too because I do get a lot of requests for commissions, but it's a long process of like going back and forth. I did one 3D commission a long while ago, and like it really hurt my soul. It was really, really hurt my soul. And I think I just realized that like I just don't really enjoy doing commissions. I don't really enjoy like the business of commissions. And now, like, even if I was to do something, like, it would be an absurd amount of money because, like, most of my money is just from teaching and stuff like that. So if I'm teaching and if I'm doing things like this, then it's like going to YouTube or going to Skillshare, and I continue to make money off of it. And it's like things that I really like enjoy sculpting. So I just decided like it's just not worth it for me to do commissions. It's a lot of work. And usually it winds up being a lot more work than you actually get paid for. Okay, so so we're going to do a Boolean. So let's take the body and let's take the arms and let's validate those. That's fine. We can do join children. Let's rename it arms. So let's take the body and the arms, and we want to, we got to go back a second. So let's clone the body. So let's take the body and clone it. So now we have body 1. So let's hide the original body by just hitting this little eyeball. So now we have body 1 and arms, and that's what we need. So body 1, we just want to hit this little eye. So they're still both selected, it's just the body 1 is hidden. If you have problems doing that, like if it won't let you just do that, hit advanced and, oh, this is different now. I think you might have to uncheck sync visibility. Just make sure it looks like mine and it should work. I see there's some other options. That was really confusing before, and now that there's more options here, it's even more confusing, but you know, I guess the app is going to continue to get more and more confusing. Okay, so once you have this hidden, you can hit Boolean. Boolean. So now it cut the shape from the body. And now we can go back and we have the backup body that we can just bring back. So now let's go to the arms and let's just smooth them and see. I don't see the symmetry on the other side. Usually you would see, oh, you know what? I still have this symmetry. I gotcha. So I want to go to the symmetry tab. We'll just go to world and we'll just switch it from Z to X. So now it should, yeah, there we go. So now it's just on both sides again. I just want to smooth the arm out. Let's hit solo and see what it looks like. It's still a bit weird, huh? Still a bit funny looking. Let's see if I voxel remesh him a little bit higher. Let's see what that looks like. I'll voxel remesh him at like 150. Yeah, it's still ugly. You know what we want to do? I'm going to voxel remesh them real high. I'm going to voxel remesh them at like 400. See how smooth and nice that is? Actually, I did 400 and it didn't even get that high. It's interesting. So I'm going to smooth these arms out now. Hit solo again. And I want to move them. Let's just use move. Let's do it the easy way. We'll just use move and we'll just move this a little bit into the body. It's a little bit of a bootleg way, but we'll live. I've been spending way too much time on the arms anyway. So people that are like trying this out as a beginner are like, what is this dude even talking about? What's up, MH? I love your workflow. Do you think the same workflow will work in Blender? No, Blender is completely 100% different, completely different system, completely different way of... Blender is a mouse and keyboard. Very, extremely different than Blender. Blender is like 1,000 times more annoying as far as like sculpting this kind of way. You can't really do it in Blender. In Blender, it's like you're using shapes, but you're kind of like manipulating them in a completely different way. It just is like a whole different mindset. It's doable. And I like doing things in Blender, just not sculpting, not making things like this, because it's just not fun to me in Blender. To me, this is way more fun. It feels more like drawing. Hello, I'm a Korean subscriber. Since there aren't many Nomad Sculpt tutorials in Korean, I've been learning by watching Dave's videos. Thank you for always creating great content. Well, that's awesome. You know, I've just been recently trying to I've been going back to like at least my crash courses, and I've been trying to change a lot of my languages. So if there's a video that you're on and you want me to change the language or if you want me to add the subtitles, just comment on the video. That way I'll be able to, because I just have so many videos that it's hard to go back and do them all. But if anyone has like a video that they want me to add that language subtitles, just comment in the video and I will go and add the subtitles. Not a problem at all. I love that. What's up, War? Okay. So Body, arms, legs. Legs look okay. I'm not crazy about the legs, but they look okay. You know what? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So now let's add. Oh, we had the mouth, but I think it might be better if we do. It might be better if we do a tube for the mouth. I'm kind of thinking. Or it might be better if we do a Taurus. I'm getting rid of this. Let's use a Taurus for the mouth. So let's hit add. Taurus. I hope this works. And we'll use our gizmo. We'll move it up. And then we want to rotate it towards us. But let's hit snap. There's two snaps. We want the one with like the angle. 90. And then I want to rotate this red ring towards us. Boom. We can take snap off. I'm supposed to sand. So let me shrink this. Okay, and I'm going to put it down. That actually looks kind of cute. Just as whatever that is there. Let me just stretch for a minute. Let me just stand up and stretch for my back. Oh yeah, so you have me saying that it's not like Blender, and then yeah, someone else is saying that it is exactly the same as Blender. And that actually is the enigma of Blender. So it'd actually be interesting when MH tries Blender out, and then they'll see how it feels. I like Blender, but when I first tried Blender, my brain was melting completely. Oh. I'm just stretching my back. I had some serious back issues last year, so now I'm trying to make sure that I stretch, that I take care of my back. Actually, I'm gonna run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Oh, all right. Oh, heavens. Okay, so let's finish this up strong. I really like this. Is like such a funny looking thing. You know what? Let's save since I haven't saved, and I'm gonna do save as. Just make a new one. $316B. Okay. So now with the Taurus, what you can do is hit the little Taurus next to the gizmo. And let's take the little pink thingy and cut that in half. Actually, let's do it a little bit more. And then we just need to go back to the gizmo and rotate it. like so. So it's a little bit of a bootleg way to do it, but I think it works. Let's do pivot center. That didn't really work. I guess it looks pretty straight. Just make sure you have it straight. And let's make it round before we do anything else. So let's make it round. So we'll tap the 3 dots. Post subdivision to 2. Division X. Down. Until it gets nice and round like that. Maybe we can up the post subdivision 1 to make it a little clearer. Let's take a look. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. And we can go back to the Taurus and we can still adjust it. Like, for example, we can... Let's see if we can make it thicker. Oh, yeah, we can use the little green thing to make it a little thicker if we want. I don't know why it looks weird to me. Sometimes you may have to go in and adjust, like, adjust this. Because it sort of, like, changes the shape a bit. So I have mine on 3 and I have this on 4. That looks pretty decent. I think it looks pretty decent. I mean, there's lots of other ways that you can do it as well. You can use like a tube, things like that. But anyway, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to validate this and I want to bake it. So what baking really means is like, instead of a torus that we adjusted and that we rotated it, we want to bake it so it's just baked into whatever this shape is the new shape. That's essentially what baking is. So let's go to, if I can remember how to do it. So we go to the gizmo settings here. So we're in the gizmo. We go to the gizmo settings and see this little croissant. Oh, now there's something new. There's a pivot bake. Huh? Okay, so let's see what happens if we do pivot bake. Boom. Pivot is baked. I thought it was just going to automatically adjust the pivot, but it didn't. So let's do pivot, center, pivot. Oh, it like baked. Did it bake the pivot like how it is? Because I don't want that. I think that's what it did. So let's do the regular bake. And then let's do pivot, center, pivot. That's what we wanted to do. Okay, so the other pivot just bakes it wherever it's situated. Okay. It's interesting. I can see that being useful for that's another video. I can see that being useful though. So I'm going to move that into the face. Maybe I'll make it a little smaller. Maybe I'll move it up a little bit. Like so. Maybe up a little bit more. Right around there maybe. Maybe a little shrinky, a little bit more. Okay, so this isn't too bad, but I want to rotate it. Because I want it to be... Oh, and I might flatten it too. I might flatten it, rotate it a little bit more. I wanted it to be like even on the face. That just feels better for me. That was a weird comment. All right, so now the eyes. Let's go add. Let's add a... Let's add a sphere. It's very odd sounds. So what I was just thinking about then is I was like, oh, do I want to use cylinders and then do a Boolean and like crop out like a space for the eyes? Because like it feels like there's space for the eyes, but I might just do that with the spheres. I can do it with the spheres maybe if I want to. So we'll shrink this. We'll move it over and we'll hit mirror. Oh, okay. For some reason it didn't look like it was even. I think it's like an optical illusion right now. Yeah, it looks like it's like tilted. It looks like it's pushed over this way, but I think the eyes actually are in the middle. So let's move them there. Let's make them a little smaller, a little bit closer together. I think that matches up pretty well. Right there. So now let's move these in. Actually, I don't know if I meant to stretch them. Okay. All right, so yeah, let's move them into the face. Maybe like halfway. I kind of do want to make the Boolean. Let's just do it. If I'm thinking about it, let's just do it. So let's take this mirror and let's validate it. And this will be eyes. So we want to do the same thing. We want to use the shape of the eyes to cut out of the head. So let's clone the eyes. So now we have eyes and eyes 1. We can hide eyes 1. So let's take, we can hide the regular eyes. We'll keep eyes 1 unhidden. I know it's my bedtime. I know. It won't even go away. And then it comes back. I appreciate it. I love Nomad because it looks simpler and I can work on iPad on the couch or garden. On the garden, I wish I had a garden. I do have a backyard, but I haven't been back there. It's been too cold. And because the way you teach goes very well with the program. That is one thing that I love about Nomad, is because you can see what I'm doing. It's so difficult on Blender when you're trying to like follow along and like it's all keyboard shortcuts and like you can't really see what it's just a different way of teaching. If I was to teach Nomad like in a group setting, it would definitely be like, I would definitely want to do it like in a school or something. Like I graduated from art school, like I would love to go back to the art school and teach art. I feel like, what do I feel like? I feel like the mouth is too big, number 1. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I feel like the eyes are also a little bit too big. And even though these are the eyes that I want to get rid of. Oh no, did I make them? Oh, I always do that. You know what? I'm just going to undo. I'm always like having to undo. Always. But that's fine. It's better to undo now than to like get further along. So I just want to make the mouth smaller. Because the mouth is like really small and cute. And these spheres, so now we're going to do the same thing. We'll just bring them in. Figure out where they go. A little bit. Okay, I think I like that. And they're in like the perfect spot. So now we'll take this and validate. This is eyes. And now we'll clone the eyes, and I kind of want to make them a little bit bigger so that the space is a little bit bigger. Let's hit X-ray. No, I don't think that's going to work. Never mind. We're just going to leave them the regular size. I'm doing too much. I'm going to have so much to edit when I make this a regular video. So now we have both eyes. We're going to hide the regular eyes. We'll take eyes 1. We'll take head top, and then we'll hide eyes 1. Boolean. So now, sorry, my nose is so itchy. So now we have that. We can unhide the regular eyes and see how they're in there, and it looks terrible, but that's okay. I'm going to vox remesh the head at like 150. So we'll voxel remesh the head. Again, that's going here, voxel, and bringing the resolution up to 150. And this is for the head. We'll remesh. Oh, let's see if we can do higher. Let's try like 250. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Let's smooth. That's what I want. That's what I want. I like that. Except for the only problem is the eyes are a little too, they bug out too much. The eyes are bugging. So I'm going to go to the gizmo. Oh, Annoying. So we already, we did this thing. We already like validated them, which it probably would have been easier if we didn't validate them. It'd probably be easier if I added another sphere and just added them hit mirror, but that's okay. So we're going to hit symmetry, and then we're going to go to vertex and do object, I think. Pivot, center, pivot. I don't even know if that will work. Nope. Vertex, maybe? Will that work? There we go. So we did symmetry, and we put this to vertex, and then we can kind of like treat them as though they hadn't gotten whatever the word is, validated. But it still doesn't help me because I still would just want to go to one sphere and I want to shrink it. So that really doesn't help me. So I'm going to put this back to auto and try to figure out another way to solve the problem. So another way to solve the problem is to just take trim and just trim one side. So I'm going to turn symmetry off. I'm just going to trim this eye. So now there's only one eye. So we'll go to gizmo, pivot, center, pivot. Okay. And I'm actually going to rotate it, because when I squish it, I want it to squish like this, not like this. I want it to squish like that. So we just rotate the pivot, or rotate the sphere, and then we can kind of squash it like this. And I'll rotate it a little bit more. I just want to make sure that it looks nice and like flush, something like that. Maybe we can even push it in a little bit more. You can make it a little bit bigger if you want. Okay, something like that. Maybe a little bit flatter. So this is kind of like however you want to do it. But I really like that. And now I can take this, add, mirror, boom. And then we can just take both of them and validate them. And then it's like it was before. Eyes. But now you see why when I make videos, when I'm not doing live, this is how, like, usually I go through and I edit so much because I'm just like talking. I'm just like saying so much extra stuff. And then I have to edit it down so it's like 40 minutes or else like people won't watch it. But I like adding all the extra stuff. I like explaining why I'm doing things. I feel like it's helpful. I don't know if it is, but I feel like it is. So the only thing I don't like is I wish I could have made the head a little more round. But I'm still okay with it. Head's really not too round, but that's okay. But I like it. So let's just quickly sum this guy up, finish it up. If you have quad remesher, you can go through with quad remesher and you can decimate. I heard that quad remesher is now on Android as well. I heard. I don't really know, but I heard. I'm watching without subtitles to practice my English. But if there's a video where we like and need Korean subtitles, I'll be sure to leave a comment. Awesome. Awesome. Love that. Yeah, feel free. And anyone else who's using languages, just leave a comment on the video and I'll do my best to make sure that I can just go to the video and add them. All the more recent videos, I'm gonna add languages. Usually people that I see in my live chats, like some people are like even today, there's like some people from, where was it? Tajikistan, I think. Like certain places where I'm like, I should start adding subtitles. So I try to like think about people that I see from different places to make sure that I add those subtitles in if it's helpful. What's up, Dolphin? It's been a while since you last got me into one of your streams. Not sure if you remember me, but here's hoping you do. I mean, I don't remember exact Dolphin Cove. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I remember, but I wouldn't take it personally. But I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that you're here. I appreciate all of you guys coming through. Dolphin Cove. So I'll remember next time for sure Dolphin Cove. Yeah, okay, so things are looking pretty good with this little rascally guy here. Mouth still feels a little big to me, but that's an easy fix. So we'll just make that a little smaller. I'm gonna hit save, and let's switch it from lit PBR back to, no, excuse me. Let's switch it from a matte cap back to lit PBR. So we'll go to the little sun. We'll switch from matte cap to lit PBR. It should turn white. And now I just want to make it a neutral color. So you can go to the paint and you can just choose a neutral color. Oh, go to scene and select everything. Then go back to your color. And you can select a neutral color. Maybe like, I'll do something like this. I like to do like a terracotta type color. We'll hit paint all. And then let's go to our scene, this little sun icon, and let's turn the environment off. So now it's going to be all black. And we'll go back to this little sun icon and we'll add our first light. So light number 1, let's rename it key. So this is our key light, the main light of the scene. I like to hit a line so I can just move the lights more easily. So we're using directional lights. So it doesn't matter where they are on the screen. All that matters is the direction of this little white arrow here. And I like to actually leave it where it is when you add it. As long as the character is facing forward, this light is usually in a really great spot. So I don't need to rotate it because I like it to be in the default position. I'm going to put the intensity up to like maybe a little bit over 2 or so. Looks nice. So now we'll go here and, oops, we can clone the key light. We'll move it over to the other side and down a little bit. And that's just so the lights don't get confused, so they're not on top of one another. I want to take the rings and I want to rotate. Whoop. Let's go to the little sun. Icons. Let's turn the icons on. See this? Icons. So let's hit this one so we don't, the icons is just so if we click off of it, we don't have to go back to the menu. I want to use the red ring. And this one is just an edge light. So I want to make a nice crisp edge. See that edge? That's all I want. And maybe I'll raise this up to like, maybe 5 or so. Okay, oh, I think that looks nice. There you go. You have a little bit here too. So that's a nice edge light or rim light. Perfect. So let's go back to the little sun. And one thing I want to do, well, let's rename it with a little pencil. This will be edge. And one thing I want to do is tap on the little info here, or the little 3 dots. And I want to, let's see, where is it at? Attachments, camera. Boom. We go here now, attachments, oops, edge, attachment, camera. Okay. So now we can, what do we want to do? Let's add another light. Let's name this one R2. Same kind of light. I'm just going to point this white arrow, and I just want to add some light over here. See, this would be a rim light, but I want to add a little bit more. So it's something like that. Maybe we want to put a little temperature to it. You can tap here and you can change the temperature. Maybe we'll make it a little warmer, like so. And let's add another light, like kind of facing his face. Got to be careful of that undo. It's killing me. Okay, so now let's add another light. Let's name this one D2, R2, D2. So this light, let's change it to, let's tap directional and change it to spot. So now it's a spotlight. So wherever that spotlight is pointing, that's where the light's going to go. So let's move it up, over a little bit, maybe a little higher, point it down. Yeah, so maybe we want to just kind of have it pointed at his face a little bit. You can use this little orange node to make it a little wider. I think that looks good. Maybe we'll put a little bit more to it. So now there's just another little light on his face. I like it. I want to put him directly in the middle. I'm going to hit front. I want to save this position right around here. So I'm going to hit this little camera and I'm going to hit add view and hit the little pencil and just hit 1. So now if I'm farting around and I want to get back to the view I had, I can just go, boom. I can just go to 1. Okay, I'm so slow. I'm extraordinarily slow. So now let's take everything in the scene menu and let's make it white. Actually, yeah, let's make it white. That's fine. So we'll do paint all. We'll make it white. We'll figure out what colors we need. So let's go to the little shutter thing and let's move this up to, let's move the quality up. Let's put on post-process. So we put on post-process. This is what I have if you want to match what I have. I love global illumination. I'm going to move that up. These look a little crazy. I'm going to move this down a bit. I don't mind that being up a little bit, but it's looking crazy. So this is like the ambient lighting, shadows and stuff like that. Okay, I think that's fine. Let's go back to this little sun, and I forgot to turn on the environment. So we'll turn on the environment. That's very bright. This is my own custom one that you can get on like Gumroad or Patreon or something. But there's all these other lighting, but I just like to use my particular one. So I want to turn this down because I still want to see some of those shadows. They just don't need to be like crazy shadows. I think that looks okay, but he still looks a little funny. I think it might be some of these settings. Yeah, let's put the curvature down a little bit. Sometimes you just have to go through these little settings and just figure out what works and what doesn't. Okay, I think that looks a little bit more natural. So let's go to the eyes. Let's paint them a glossy black. So we'll just tap here. We'll go to black, and then we want to make it glossy, so we want to turn the roughness down, like so. And let's hit paint all. The mouth, I don't think I want it glossy, but it can be black, so let's bring the roughness up. You can see a little demo there. Maybe to right around there. We'll hit paint all. Then the only difference is these reflections with Nomad, that's gonna depend on your environment. So right now we're using this environment. So if I make this a little bit brighter, those white spots might get a little bit brighter. I can probably rotate it to kind of change them, but it's not going to look exactly, it's all dependent on whatever the environment is. But I don't think that's bad. I think I like it. I think it's pretty cute. I think it works. I think we need a little bit more of exposure here. And yeah, I think I like him. I think it's pretty cute. I think it's good for a beginner. It's good shaped for a beginner to try out. Eyes are a little big, but I'm not mad at this little rascal. I'm not mad at him at all. I want to take the body and the arms, and maybe I'll make them a little smaller. Move them up a little bit. No, I want them a little pudgier, I think. Yeah, I think I like that. But there's a lot of things you can do. You can kind of experiment with the mouth, if it will let me choose it. The mouth, you can move different places. You can make it a little thinner. Oh, I think I like the thinner mouth. I think that looks better. And there's lots of things you can do with him. You know, you can kind of play around and just kind of experiment. You can give him different arm positions if you want. There's lots of things you can do. I think there's a lot of room to be creative. He's all white. I kind of want to see if I can bring him over into Nomad. Procreate streams. That was a while back. Yeah, I haven't done Procreate. Well, maybe. No, I don't think I've done Procreate in a while. I can't quite remember though. But yeah, I like this little guy. He's cute. It's fun to just do like really like little simple characters. Maybe I want to. I'm trying to think of what I might want to add onto him. Maybe I'll add a. Let's see. I always do horns. I really love horns, but maybe I won't do horns for him. Maybe I'll do. Let's do a tube. Okay, we'll turn it to the side and shrink it. Where's my grid? Let's turn the grid on. Grid on. Shrinky, shrinky. Let's stretch it out. And wait, did I do a cylinder or did I do a tube? Oh no, I did use tube. Okay, so let's go to the tube settings. This little magnet should be on. If you hit left or hit in any direction, this little magnet should pop on. That means that this is like now locked to the, ooh, what was that? That's so weird. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I need to, what happens if I add another? That's so strange. Okay, so here's some another weird update thing. Constant density, what is that? Nope. If I turn snap off, does that help? Nope. Why is it being so weird? I don't think it has anything to do with these nodes, but let's see. Nope. B-spline? Nope. Is it because it's too small or something? Nope. Zero post sub. Maybe we put this to 3. Does that help? Nope. Okay, yeah. So I don't know why. I don't know why this isn't allowing me to just move the tube how it's supposed to move. Maybe it's a glitch or something. I have no idea. But anyway, let's turn the grid off and see if it moves. Oh no, what is that? Did I add it in like a mirror or something? No. Does anyone know what's up with the tube tool? Nice seeing you too. I appreciate you. But I'm doing more live streams, so next time I'll remember. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I have no idea what's up with the tube tool. It was really cool actually that we had the It was really cool when we could use the grid and the little magnet and we could control the tube. That was actually really, really useful. So now I'm just like very confused as to why it's not working. Curve, snap, division X. It's just a regular tube. What's up? I mean, maybe it has something to do with symmetry. I mean, I don't think so, but I'm out of ideas here. That's really annoying. Anyway, we're just gonna keep trucking on. I'll have to look into that, because if that's the case, then a lot of people are gonna be like, "What? Why is the tube tool broken?" I did have a line on. I just want to check and make sure that it didn't have anything to do with a line. No, it didn't have anything to do with a line. So I just wasted my own my time, which is normal. I'm always wasting my own time. Okay, so this number one, this tube is huge. So let's I'm gonna use quad remesher and just half it again and again. Doesn't really need to be high at all. This can be really small because this is just going to be like a little tubey tube. Let's add a little sphere. You can never go wrong with like a little sphere detail. Oh, also, let's turn off post-process. That is the silliest way to sculpt, with post-process on. Okay, maybe we'll do it around this size. We'll move it back to about here. Let's take this little thing. Let's use move, and let's give this a nice little bend. I'm so like not technical when I'm sculpting. Just like not technical at all. I'm just like doing everything wrong, and I love it. Okay, maybe we'll take this. Should this be black, or should the little other thing be black? So now he's got a little thingamajig. We'll validate that. Maybe we want to put it a little bit further back. I like it. See, you can just do like little interesting little shapes. I kind of want to do like a big X here, right? Xers are cool. You know what else I like to do? I like to do with tube. Let's do path. No, let's take this off. I'm upset at that. I'm very upset at the frickin' tube tool snap thingy that was like so useful, now not being useful. It's very, very upsetting. I just want to make a swirl. Come on, let me tap the green dot. How rude is that? How rude is that the frickin' white dot is there and it won't let me tap the green dot? Okay, let's make this post subdivision 2. Bring this down so that it's like a cuter one. Okay, have snap, so it's snapping to the surface of the body, which is what I want. And we'll go ahead and adjust this. Maybe we want to do the radius again, so we can make, maybe we want this part, do we want this part smaller or this part bigger? That's the question. Do we want this part smaller? No, I think we just like it plump like that. Let's make it small. I want it to go straight down. So let's just do a line and just move it straight down. Move it out a little bit. I like that. I'm just going to validate it. And this is going to be the swirly. I'm not sure how it got stuck on the body, but this is going to be swirly. And you know what? Maybe it's black. Why not? Let's get crazy. It's a little off center, isn't it? Let's move it over. There we go. And yeah, now I'm just kind of going crazy adding little details that I don't need to add. I'm going to clone this. I'm going to move it up, shrink it. I think this is what I like more than Blender. I like, in this program, I feel like I have the ability to just kind of flow and just make weird random things because they're just way more easier to make. Because like I feel like I'm just drawing. So let's make one of these things. Let's take drag and kind of like, let's make it a little bit like, I don't know, yeah. We'll make it something like that. And then we'll add a mirror. We'll validate. We'll save. We'll turn the grid off. I'm going to turn the image off. Let's see if I can find that little, yeah. I like to line it up with that little white thing on the iPad. So we'll put it there. I'll hit front. I'm going to add another view. We'll call this one 2. We'll save again. Okay, everything looks good. We set the lights. So now we can just go into, if you want to save it, there's save. If you want to export the image, go down to render. You can do screen. If you don't want the purple, you can do transparent background, but just do screen or one of these. And then just do export. And if you export it, oh, I wanted to show you something. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't have post-process. Let's go back to post-process and turn that on. Up here is max frame sampling. Mine's at 350. So this kind of controls the quality, although I feel like it doesn't really, this number is kind of arbitrary. I just leave it there at 350. But this is the same number that if you hit screen and you hit export, this is going to count to 350. So it's the same number. It's just a number of samples, which means the number of like, you know, it's like compiling that number of whatevers and just that's the quality. So I don't know. I tried like higher and I couldn't really see a difference. So I just keep it on 350 and then you can just send it to wherever. I'm going to send this to my computer. And then I always do a turntable. Oh, you know what I need to do actually? I need to do one of these things where I take the whole body and this. Oh, I don't think it's going to let me move the pivot. Oh, it does let me move the pivot. I'm going to move the pivot down here, low like, and then I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to do one of these. Okay, boom, that's done. I can put the pivot back. So I do that because when I do the edits, I like to do that and then bring it into Blender and like make something cool. So that's what that is. So I don't need to edit the, yeah, there we go. Wait, what is changing? Oh well. Oh well. So if I want to do a turntable, I just tap here. Turntable speed is whatever that is. And then scene and then turntable. Oh, and I forgot the most important thing. Let me go back to number 2. If I want to do a turntable, here is where I use on my iPad. I do the screen record, and then I hit turntable, and then I get the nice screen record. So then I can jump from this video into this video. Maybe try the middle note, the white one. Oh, you try. Oh, probably the tube thing. I don't know what's up with that. It's very, very upsetting. Let me just go ahead and save this. Oh, so I am going to want to bring this into Blender. So essentially, when I bring it over into Blender, there's like a set spot that I want it to be. So that's where the grid comes back into play. Where's the red line? The red line's up here. So I'm going to take everything. This is going to be quick because I think I need to go to bed. Oh, it's already 2:30? Oh, it's always like time is just like messing with me. Always. So I'm going to want the feet to be, maybe I can use that planar thing. I kind of wish the feet were a little bit more just flat on the bottom, but I'll live. So this is going to be the ground. So the first thing I do is I move it there. And then I go through and some things I just don't need them to be such high resolution. So for example, the head, oh, let me turn off post-process because there's no reason to do anything with that on. So I'm probably going to use quad remesher. Let's put on the wireframe just so we can, so what I'm doing makes sense. What is this light here? Is that the, why is that pointing like down there like that? That's so weird. Anyway. So with quad remesher, right now it's 190K, and this is like such a simple shape that it doesn't need to be this dense. So let's try 10K. And let's just see what happens. We'll just see if the quality changes to where it's like looks bad. I don't think it does. I think it looks fine. And now it's only 9,000. So there, we saved a lot of space. This is not that big. I might be able to half it and it still looks fine. This is like already pretty small. I can probably half that anyway. And still looks fine. These little thingies, I'll just do half. So essentially it's just breaking up the topology. Let me turn the wireframe back on. See how dense that is? They're so small that they don't need to be that big. They can actually be very tiny resolution wise. These, we'll probably leave it. The mouth, maybe I'll half it. It's fine. The body, maybe we'll leave the body alone. Actually, no, let's not leave it alone. Let's half it. What am I talking about? Let's half it. Let's half it again. Let's see how it looks. I think it looks the same. Yeah, I think it looks the same. The arms, symmetry, let's do 10K. That's fine. Maybe I'll half it. Put the wireframe on. Yeah, they still look fine. Good. So now, oh, we forgot the swirly. Swirly looks fine too. Okay, so turn the wireframe off. We'll go back to Gizmo. So now it's only 43.6. That's actually still, I'm surprised it's not smaller. Eyes are 12. Body's 11.9. I guess that makes sense. Arms are still 4,000. Oh, whatever. It's not too bad. So the next thing I'll do is figure out if I want to put anything like together. I'll leave everything separate. So then I just go through and head. I just want to bake everything so everything is like baked into place. So I just go to the gizmo settings and I just bake. I just start from there and then I just bake everything. So that they're all in there baked into where they are now. So once I have that, I'll save it. And then I will delete the lights, I'll delete the cameras. I don't want any of this extra stuff going over into Blender. So then I will just export the GLTF. Do I want to do the normals? I'm trying to remember if there was some reason why. I don't know, I don't think it makes a difference. So export GLTF, Crash Course 316B, airdrop that to my computer. And then I can open it into Blender. So maybe that'll be another crash course. But I need to get my butt in bed. So I'm going to turn the grid off. And I already deleted the lights. I'll just open it at the previous version. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Printy cupcakes. Didn't have the issue. Oh yeah, it's weird. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Let's open something new. Let's hide this. Let's add a tube. Let's put the grid on. Okay, the magnet. There we go, the magnets. Okay, so it must have been something weird. I don't know what was up with it. But anyway, I mean, like, you know, that kind of stuff happens. It happens. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys chatting with me. It's really fun to do live streams because I don't really talk. I don't really like. I'm not that much of a social person. So, but with live streams, it's different. I think it's because like I love doing this stuff. So it's like easy to just like explain what's on my mind and what I'm thinking. So I'm glad that has some sort of value in some people. Oh man, am I still recording this stupid thing? Oh my god, stupid. Now I have to go back and like edit it. Because it's 7 minutes. It's crazy. But actually it's fairly easy on the iPad. Okay, done. Save video. I need to send this to my computer anyway. So otherwise I would have forgotten. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. And I'm not going to 3D print this because I took my 3D printer apart and packed it up. And hopefully I get a house soon, so that's the next time I'll be able to 3D print. But my room in my apartment is just too small. And with the airbrush and all that stuff, it just was overwhelming. So I had to pack it up. But I'll probably put this on my... I'll put it somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll just probably put it on Patreon. So if you want to print it along with my last few sculpts, then maybe I'll upload them tomorrow if I get a chance, or the next day. All right. You guys have a good night or a good day. Appreciate you. Cyro, War, appreciate you guys. Do. It's two in French, right? Dozex. Will you post a live stream? New sub here. Yeah, I'll post. Well, the live stream will stay here, but then I'll also I'll edit the video and post that as well as like a regular tutorial. But yeah, no, this will be here when it's over. All right. Bedtime baby. Appreciate you guys.